just wanted to film this because obviously you're coming to my hotel room at 9:30 or whatever it is at night.
9:15, yeah.
Okay. What can I do for you?
Mate, we've had a complaint that you weren't wearing a mask today.
I don't need to wear a mask. I'm medically exempt.
Are you?
Yes.
Can you provide some documentation for that?
I can.
Honestly, I'm sorry to be doing this to you again, but I have another absurd COVID enforcement story that I have to report. In fact, this may be the craziest one so far. This one happened in 2 parts, so make sure to watch the whole thing, the entire video, then share it with everyone. And if you can, please help us pay for David's defense at fightthefines.com.au.
It does it. So,
I'm
sorry.
Constable Ang from Wembley Police Station, PD number 16274. All right, so as per our discussion earlier, you currently weren't running around without a mask, all right? And my colleague and you have been having a chat for the last 5 minutes, all right? And you decided to us that you believe that you've got a medical exemption, and the information you've been provided with your doctors is that you're fine.
Yep.
As my partner has been explaining to you, we're unable to access your records from the car here, okay? So at the moment, because we suspect that you're committing an offence and understand that you cited that you might have an exemption for it, I'm unable to verify it. All right, so I still have reasonable suspicion that you have committed an offence. So at the moment, I'm detaining you under Section 16 of the Criminal Investigation Identifying People's Act for your personal details. So what I need from you is your first name, your middle name and last name, and your address and your date of birth.
Did you catch all of that? Police pulled David up while he was running alone because he wasn't wearing a mask. Forget the fact that it's crazy enough that they stopped a man who was clearly exercising. But David happened to have a medical exemption, just not on him because he was outside sprint training alone.
I can't just, as a police officer, if someone says, I'm not committing a crime, I don't just go, all right, well, get off on your way, all's well and good, okay? So I'm detaining you at the moment under Section 16 of the Criminal Investigation Identifying People's Act because it's committing an offence, and that's a breach of the Emergency Management Act, so I can obtain your details. So you're not free to leave at the moment. You're not being arrested, you're just being detained.
I really wonder what they're teaching the cops today in the academy because it's Crim Law 101. If you're not free to go, you're under arrest.
And then what happens?
So what will happen then is that I'll conduct some investigations as to whether you do have the medical exemption, and it might just be a simple call to your GP to go, this is who we've dealt with earlier this morning and this is what he's told us. Does he have a medical exemption? They'll go, yes, like you said, and I'll go, all right, that's it. And this goes no further.
Right.
Actually, that doesn't sound all right to me. Remember, they pulled up on David who was running alone, outside, certainly not endangering anyone. Then they arrested him, to confirm with his GP that he has a medical exemption not to sprint with a face mask. Cameron, thank you for joining the Fights to Find team here in Australia. Did police really have the right to check with his GP?
So in Australia, people have a common law right to privacy, and the WA statute actually does not infringe that directly. So on that basis, the police officer shouldn't have any power to actually ask for GP records or go and ask his GP directly for his records. That would require some kind of order from the court to actually produce that.
If I've not committed an offence, then why do I need to give you my details?
Committed an offence, and because of that suspicion, I'm detaining you under Section 16 of the Criminal Investigation Identifying People's Act. Investigate if you have committed an offence.
Right. And sorry, could I just get your details as well, please?
Yes, City Constable Gibbon, 13809. What details are just there?
Thank you.
So at that point, you stopped filming the interaction and it seemed like you were cooperating even though you had done nothing wrong. So what went so wrong from there?
Look, just to be clear, I was cooperating all the way through. I was extremely polite, and I was not doing anything that would antagonise them. So I'd said to the police, at no point am I not giving you the information. I just want to clarify my legal position. And one of the police officers had said to me, yes, that's fine. I said, look, do you mind if I call a lawyer just to understand? Because I haven't committed a crime. So my understanding is because I haven't committed a crime, I don't need to give you my personal details. Therefore, I'd rather withhold that and protect my my rights. And he said, yes, that's fine. Do you have a lawyer on your phone? And I said, yes, I do. Do you mind if I check? And he said, no, that's fine. As I lifted my phone up to look through the contacts, the other police officer came in and cuffed me straight away. And then with that, they've pushed me down and put me into the back of the car. And said, we're arresting you for not giving your information. After I was held for around 6 hours, I was then charged with not only failing to give my details, but there was also the additional charge added to it of not wearing a mask.
And if you think that's not outrageous enough, watch what happened next when police showed up to his hotel room a few days later.
You've come to my hotel room at 9:30 at night.
There you go.
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, I did introduce
You've tried
myself.
to touch my things and grab at my phone. This is pure intimidation, and I don't appreciate it at all. I've shown you very clearly that I've got a medical certificate. I'm here in my underwear. You've banged on my hotel room door, okay, and this is very intimidating.
Oh, I'm sorry you feel intimidated.
Well, why wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't, because it's a simple matter. We ask you some simple questions. If
And
there's
I've
a simple
responded
answer,
to every single one of those. Have I not?
It's a simple job.
Have I not responded to
Yes,
your
you have,
questions?
but
have I given you the answers?
You're the one who's getting upset. We're not getting
Because
upset.
you've come to my hotel
don't
room
grit your teeth
and
at
done
me.
that.
Okay,
Right?
there's no
The
need
reason
to
I've
grit your
got
teeth at me.
Look, you've got what you need.
Yep.
I've given you my medical
Yep.
certificate.
And providing
Is there
that's
anything
bona
else?
fide, that will be sufficient. Now, if you won't hear from us, providing that's adequate. Now, we have to be able to establish that that's an adequate document and not something made up online and not something that's been made up by yourself or others or who.
So
I don't
are
know
you
who.
accusing me of fraud then? Is
I'm
that
not
what you're
accusing
suggesting?
you of anything. All I am is a police officer making some inquiries on behalf of the state of Western
I have
Australia to
shown
ensure
you.
that's all right. And you have
Well, if
shown
it's
me,
all
and
right
we will
then,
go away
then-
and we will make our inquiries. And if it turns out to be false, you'll be arrested.
So they arrest, charge and release him. Then they come back to review his medical certificate, and when he complies, they threaten to arrest him again, this time for fraud.
We're here making due diligent inquiries,
And you
we're
can't do
obliged
that.
to do
You
them.
can't do that at a reasonable time. You can't do that at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. You had to come at 9:30 at night to my hotel room and bang on my door.
Yeah, well, how else do you supposed to open the door?
Well, you could contact me through the reception. If any guest comes to this hotel, they are not permitted to come up to a guest's door without the hotel reception ringing through first. You've bypassed that to come and bang on my door and intimidate me.
We have
That's
not
what you've done.
intimidated you.
I'm telling you I'm intimidated.
Oh, well, that's your problem.
Wow. Not intimidating to have cops with guns knock at your door late at night. Sorry, I think we can all agree that that's scary, especially when you're in David's position where they dragged you off to a police station in cuffs and criminally charged you the week before for the same thing.
We're
Well,
enforcing the law.
have I
and if
committed
you-
a crime?
I don't know. That's why we're
Well,
doing.
I
We're
haven't
making
committed a crime.
inquiries.
Could you step back, please? You're coming too close to
I'm
me.
not.
I can feel your breath on me.
Well, I've got a
I don't
mask
want
on.
that. Well, I can feel it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry about that.
Wait, what? The guy there supposedly enforcing COVID restrictions for public health breaks the 1.5 meter social distancing rule, so much so that the other person can feel his breath, but it's okay because he's wearing a mask. You just can't make this stuff up.
Well, I think we've said everything now.
Okay, goodbye. As I
Thank
said,
you.
we'll be making our inquiries and we'll
And
be
then
in
you can
touch.
phone me through the hotel. And please
right.
do not bang on my door again.
Okay, we'll
That's
see how we
just
go.
intimidating.
I'm sorry you felt intimidated by that.
Disgusting abuse of power there again. David, you've already been outrageously charged for that first interaction, and now you seem to be experiencing ongoing police harassment. We're not going to let this continue. We're actually going to crowdfund your defence at fightthefines.com.au. You've already spoken to Manny, who's agreed to take on your case with his colleague Cameron. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel a huge amount of relief because, it's, well, first of all, I think it's good karma because myself and my family have actually been contributing to this cause, the Fight the Fines, because it's amazing what you're doing and we wanted to support other people. I didn't expect to be one of the recipients of that. So it's amazing, and it's a huge relief to know that that's there, because otherwise to have the courage to stand up against this absolute tyranny that's going on at the moment is very hard to do. But knowing that I've got the support of yourself and your listeners behind to help with that is again, as I said, a huge relief. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Manny, and thank you for agreeing to take on David's case, even though this time you're in a completely different state. What can you tell us so far?
Well, once again, we see a case where David had a reasonable excuse, that is a medical exemption. And once again, we see a case where the police did not have before them any evidence to form a suspicion that he was not exempt. Obviously, the questions that the officers asked him were certainly not within their powers to do. For example, seek records from his GP. There is a very powerful defence available to us, and we will pursue that. We are also prepared to brief lead counsel in Western Australia should the matter proceed to court. And frankly, myself and Cameron, and I think your members of the public agree that this is a type of matter that should be heard by the court, and the court should make some enunciations about it, because I think it's in the community interest that some precedents are set here so that it can guide the police and it can guide the community as to how to conduct themselves in these types of matters.
Absolutely agree, Manny, and I reckon most reasonable people do. However, if you're one of these Western Australians defending your Premier's overreaction to coronavirus lately, I'd ask you to reconsider. I get that you guys feel safe in your little bubble without any of the virus, but ask yourself, how long are you willing to live isolated from the rest of the country, heck, the rest of the world? How long are you okay for police enforcing draconian laws and arresting people for practically living? How many lockdowns are you willing to absorb as we learn to live with this new normal? Because I promise you now, if you don't stand up for the Davids of your community today, don't expect anyone to stand for you when you've had enough. Victorians learnt the hard way. You don't want that. I urge you to join us now at fightthefines.com.au. If you love this idea to fight the fines down under as much as I do, make sure to hit the like button below and share the video far and wide, because you never know who on your friends or family list can benefit from this campaign or able to help us help others. Again, fightthefines.com.au, because we can beat them together.